Dear God, I trusted you, and I don't understand why. You stayed silent when I needed you most. Even writing that sentence feels like tearing something open that I've spent years trying to stitch shut. But I think there's no way to begin this letter without first acknowledging the truth. I feel abandoned. Not just disappointed or confused, but left alone in the very moment I thought you would lift me up. And I need you to understand. This wasn't a moment of casual struggle. This wasn't one of those mild inconveniences humans like to dramatize into prayer. This was the kind of night where the air itself felt sharp, where the ground under my feet felt like it was giving way, where every breath was a negotiation between giving up and holding on. And during all of it, I begged for you. I whispered your name until my throat burned. I waited for you with the kind of aching hope I didn't even know a heart could hold. But you, God, you were quiet. So I'm writing this letter, not because I expect you to answer it, but because I need to pour out the things I've been carrying alone for far too long. Maybe this letter will keep me from drowning in everything that's still unsaid. The night everything broke. Do you remember that night? I do. I remember the way the room felt too small, as if the walls were closing in around me. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, hands shaking, unable to understand how everything I'd tried, every prayer, every plea, every moment of fragile hope had still led me to that breaking point. You know the moment I'm talking about. The moment when I felt the kind of pain that makes you forget your own name. It was the kind of pain where the world goes silent and time goes strange, and you realize just how fragile a human being really is. Everything, every lesson, every scripture, every sermon vanished from my mind. The only thing I could feel was fear, the kind that sinks its claws into your ribs and won't loosen no matter how desperately you beg. I reached for you then. I called out for you with everything I had left. But the darkness didn't move. The silence didn't crack. No warmth touched my shoulder. No whisper of reassurance. No sudden clarity. Just the hollow quiet, loud enough to feel like its own kind of cruelty. Do you know how terrifying silence can be when it comes from the one presence you've spent your whole life believing would never abandon you? I didn't need a miracle. I didn't need angels or splitting skies or burning bushes. I just needed something. A sign. A word. A breath of comfort. But there was nothing. And that nothing is what broke me. Kai. The unanswered whys. You know, I used to think faith meant trusting you without needing answers. People told me you worked in mysterious ways. People told me pain had purpose, that suffering meant growth, that blessings hid behind every trial. But suffering doesn't feel holy when you're in the middle of it. It feels isolating. It feels like betrayal. It feels like you've been forgotten by the one presence you were taught would never let you fall. I had all these questions, still do, actually. Why didn't you step in? Why didn't you ease the burden even a little? Why did you let someone who believed in you break that deeply? Why does silence come easiest when I am on my knees? People love to say, you have reasons. But they don't have to live inside my grief. They don't have to carry the weight of questions that never stop echoing. They don't have to go to sleep clutching uncertainty like a blanket and wake up still tangled in it. I don't think they understand what it feels like to talk to you and hear absolutely nothing back. They tell me, you were there. But what does that even mean? Because if you were there, why did it feel like I was begging into emptiness? E3. What faith used to mean to me. I wasn't always like this. There was a time, God. There really was, when I believed in you more fiercely than anything else in my life. Faith wasn't just something I practiced. It was the way I breathed. I prayed at night, not because I was afraid, but because it felt like talking to someone who listened. I thanked you for small things, big things, mundane things. Sunsets, warm bread, a kind word from someone who didn't have to be kind. The feeling of waking up with purpose. You were woven into everything. I walked with steady steps because I felt like you walked beside me. I faced things bravely because I thought. You strengthened my courage. I endured the storms because I believed wholeheartedly that you were the one who calmed them. But now, I wonder, was that faith? Or was it just hope wrapped in naivete? Was I hearing your voice? Or was I just hearing my own whispered reassurance? I used to say, God will not give me more than I can handle. But now I know people can break long before the world is done testing them. I used to say, God is close to the brokenhearted. But my heartbreak felt like a desert where no one walked but me. I used to say, God hears every prayer. But if you heard mine, why didn't you answer? Ivy, the empty space you left behind. The hardest part isn't the silence itself. It's what grows in the silence. Doubt, fear, bitterness, questions that have sharp edges and no answers. It's like standing in a room where someone important used to sit, and they're gone. And you can still feel the outline of their absence everywhere you look. I used to feel surrounded by your presence. Now I feel surrounded by everything that reminds me you didn't show up. All the scriptures about comfort feel like promises made to someone who isn't me. All the stories of miracles feel like testimonies from a world I somehow got locked out of. All the songs about your love feel like lullabies meant for a child I no longer resemble. I feel like I've been walking with my hand stretched out, waiting for you to take it, only to realize you either missed it or chose not to reach back. And that hurts in a way words barely touch. V. The anger I never admitted. Yes, there's anger. I've been taught not to say that. Taught that anger toward you is disrespect. Taught that questioning you is faithlessness. Taught that grief must be dressed in reverence. But I don't know how to dress up this pain. It's raw, it's unfiltered. It's not holy or poetic, it's jagged. I am angry that you didn't intervene. I am angry that you let things get so dark. I am angry that your silence pushed me to a place I should never have reached. And I hate that I feel guilty for that anger. As if humans are supposed to be grateful, even for unanswered prayers. As if love means accepting abandonment without protest. But here's the truth, you already know. I expected more from you. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe expecting love, comfort, and presence was asking too much. But if you are who they say you are, then why does it feel like you turned your face away when I cried out? VI. Memories that still hurt. I remember the smaller disappointments, too. The ones I brushed aside because I thought you had bigger plans. The nights I prayed for peace and slept with anxiety gnawing at my ribs. The days I asked for guidance and walked blind into heartbreak. The moments I begged for signs and got silence wrapped in silence. Every one of those moments is stitched into me now. Little reminders that the connection I thought we had might have been one-sided all along. And yet, I held on. Because hope is stubborn. Because faith has its own kind of inertia. Because I believed the pain would make sense someday. But now I'm starting to wonder if the meaning I'm searching for simply isn't there. 7. Why I'm still writing. If I truly believed you were gone forever, I wouldn't be writing this letter. If I didn't care anymore, I wouldn't feel this hurt so deeply. People don't grieve what they never loved. And I did love you fiercely, blindly, wholeheartedly. Maybe that's why the silence felt so devastating. It's not easy to feel abandoned by someone you trusted with your soul. But here's the strange part. Even after everything, I'm still reaching out. I don't know if that's faith or desperation or some muscle memory of hope that refuses to die. Maybe I'm writing this because part of me still believes you're listening. Maybe I'm writing because I'm afraid of letting go completely. Maybe I'm writing because I don't know how to move forward without first telling you exactly how deeply you hurt me. This letter isn't a prayer. It's not a confession. It's not even an accusation. It's an honest cry from someone who feels torn between believing in you and protecting themselves from the pain of believing again. 8. If you are listening, then I need you to understand one thing. I am not asking for miracles. I am not asking for visions or signs or thunderous revelations. I'm not even asking for answers. I just want to feel like I am not alone. I want to know that if I reach out again, it won't be into empty space. I want to know that the silence was not indifference. I want to know that the God I grew up loving is still there somewhere in the dark, even if I can no longer sense you. I don't need certainty. I just need presence. Something. Anything. If you are still with me, then I need you to help me believe that again. Ix. And if you're not listening, then this letter will simply become what my prayers became. Words spoken into space, carrying more longing than logic. If you no longer walk with me, if I imagined your comfort, If the silence is all that's left, then I don't know what happens next. I don't know how to rebuild a faith that shattered on impact. I don't know how to trust again. I don't know how to carry both love and disappointment in the same trembling hands. But I do know this. I can't pretend to be unbroken anymore. I can't force myself to smile at unanswered prayers. I can't plaster scripture over wounds that still bleed. I can't shape my grief into praise to make others comfortable. If you're not listening, then this letter becomes a farewell. Not to you, but to the version of you I believed in. X. Still, a quiet, fragile hope. Despite everything, despite the silence, despite the unanswered cries, despite the feeling of abandonment, some part of me still hopes you'll hear this. Hope is a stubborn flame, and mine refuses to go out completely. So I'll end this letter the only way I know how. With honesty, with trembling hands, with a heart that is bruised but still beating. God, I trusted you. I don't know if I can trust you right now, but I want to. If you are there, if you have ever been there, then please, meet me in the silence. Break it, even gently, even quietly. Just let me know I'm not reaching into empty air. Because I'm tired, God. I'm hurting. I'm confused. But I am still, somehow, reaching out to you, not because I am sure of you, but because I still want you to be real, sincerely, someone who aches for your voice, even after the silence.